we're doing the Accountant Bracket Challenge. ABC March Appness. We just want to have fun. We don't want to make this taxing. It's already tax season. People need a fun distraction during tax season. Our nomination period open now for you. Text ABC to 33339, or you go to bracket.accountinghigh.com. That's it. Super easy. ABC to 33339, or go to bracket.accountinghigh.com. Go in and enroll. Just get ready. Buckle up.
May I have your attention, please?
Greetings, Accounting High. It's me, Miss Smiles, your friendly front office lady, bringing you your morning announcements. Welcome to your weekly installment of Accounting High Times, where every Friday, Scotty and Byron will be bringing you the latest news and updates from Accounting High, as well as a few highlights from our blog, The Accounting High Guide. First up is our coverage of the ABC March Appness event. Enroll today at bracket.accountinghigh.com. We've also got the latest scoop on the Accounting High's Weekly Roundup, as well as a lesson from Accounting High's AP AI class. And as always, thank you for joining us. Sit back, relax, and open your mind, because it's time for Accounting High Times.
I repeat, may I have your attention, please?
This is another public service announcement brought to you in part
by Accounting High.
The views and events expressed here are
of the next generation of accounting and tech professionals leading this space.
The events and suggestions are not to be taken lightly. Children should not partake in the listening
of this podcast.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So without further ado, introducing the star of our show,
Scotty and Byron.
We're gonna have a problem here.
What's up, homie?
Not much. How goes it, man?
It goes. Another week in paradise. I don't know if paradise.
Another week of nominations.
Another week of nominations. I heard we got a lot of raffle tickets issued at the March. So I was thinking about just calling it ABC Appness instead of March Appness, since we're technically in February. But
yes,
the bracket challenge. Yeah, it's the bracket challenge. Got a lot of raffle tickets. What's our count of raffle tickets?
Yeah, we're over 5,200 raffle tickets awarded.
5,200. So right now, it's your chance to be a 1 in 5,200 chance to win our big prizes. Actually, it wouldn't be 1 in 52, because if you went and nominated your 5 today, you could have a 50 in 5,250 chance, right?
Yeah, so 1 in 1,000 chance, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just about. All right.
Yeah.
I like those odds. So go in, nominate today if you haven't yet. Enroll and nominate today. Bracket.accountinghigh.com. Text 33339. Text ABC to 33339. We will soon be revealing the official prizes. We have 2 confirmed sponsors of the tournament.
Yep.
Drum roll, please. We have Ignition and Relay co-sponsoring or sponsoring the tournament. We're hoping to land a couple more sponsors. Cap is still tied with Gusto now. That's Cloud Accounting Podcast, tied with Gusto. They're both at 20. Pretty strong.
Pretty strong. It's and there's a good amount of variety that's starting to show up.
Strong showing from Plooto. We're going to have to make a caveat here. A new rule for the competition that you can't vote for the same thing multiple times. Not one person can vote for the same thing more than once. Nominate.
Yeah, and with the qualifier, as a single student, your 5 nominations need to be 5 different.
Yeah, and we'll be clear. We have people going in nominating one thing 5 times. So each individual student can nominate something once. We didn't put any controls in place to not allow people to do that. We might have to do that in the future. For now, we're going to count the votes as 1 per person, 1 platform per person. Basically, they can do 5 individual platforms. If they only want to vote for 1, that's just 1 vote. Just to be clear. We also got a strong showing from the Unique CPA. Got some lots of votes coming in.
Yeah.
Double digits.
Good support for Randy.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And lots of great testimonials. I got to read.
Yeah.
You want to read one of these Accounting High testimonials?
Oh yeah. Let me pull that up here. So there is no uppercase NO better podcast than AH. Scott and all of his guests always keep it real. Apart from the incredible discussions and the lessons that can be learned from the podcast, Scott has a unique ability to get people to open up and share vulnerably. I would agree with that.
Ooh.
It helps listeners understand that they are not alone with their real life struggles, thoughts, challenges, etc. AH is my number one recommendation.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Got to say thank you to Katie Thomas, who wrote that testimonial. That's dope. I think people are going to be excited to see the support that they have from their users. So this is going to be a really cool tournament as we keep going along. But yeah, and then stay tuned for something coming up with Katie. We got an episode we're recording with her on Monday. So I don't know if she wrote this in anticipation to being on, but I think they're all unrelated. It's unrelated. Yeah. I think it's all unrelated. This was just the best testimonial I saw. So
nice. Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So, and listeners, if y'all could share this challenge, share anything about this out on the social platforms, that would be dope. You have the power to grow this more than us at this point. We've got our reach.
Share with your colleagues. I know everybody has at least one colleague they work with that you can share this with.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Share with your people. Share with the other accountants,
Put it in your company Slack, put in your company Teams channel.
Get excited about it. It's going to be fun. Somebody's going to win a trip.
Share it out.
Yeah. I'm still leaning toward Hawaii as the trip. We're going to make sure we can budget that. Definitely doing Disney University. So
we got to get we need more nominations to bring in some cash to fund that.
For sure. So we're gonna have a graphic soon with the sponsors, with the bracket. It's gonna be so cool. All right. We got our
weekly roundup.
Weekly roundup. So I released a Varsity Tips episode about our travels titled
Storyteller's Guide Through a Time Capsule of Travel.
Storyteller's Guide Through a Time Capsule of Travel. So we talk about storytelling. We actually outline the techniques of storytelling that we learned during our travels from Gusto.
Love it.
And everything we learned in our last couple of trips, because we just came back from a back-to-back trips in Park City and GPAC with over 50 different accountants, accounting firm owners. Between the two trips. So yeah, we had a lot to share there. It's had some good reviews so far from our listeners. And tell us what you identified, Byron.
Well, last week we were talking about the fact that Tax Twitter received some nominations for the bracket challenge. You had kind of joked around about trying to find the creator of the Tax Twitter hashtag. So did some advanced searching in Twitter and came back all the way to 2010, February 2010, in fact. So 13 years ago. And mind you, Twitter, I believe 2007 is when Twitter was founded. So 2010, it goes back. But the first tweet that referenced the Tax Twitter hashtag was, "You see what is happening here? Twitter and wine are not helping me do my works. Hashtag tax Twitter," from Far Quahar.
Martha. We're going to say Martha. And also important to note that the first regular user of the hashtag was about 6 years after that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, over the next period of time, there was a bunch of just kind of rando tweets using the hashtag, but nothing consistent. But it looks like right around September 2016, a Twitterer by the name of Stephanie Soong began using Tax Twitter on a pretty consistent basis, which I think kind of really started to build the community. In fact, September 19, 2016, she said, "Oh, Tax Twitter is full of such jokes." Although it looks like the thread that she was replying to no longer exists.
Well,
Yeah.
shout out to Stephanie, who was probably the cultivator of this, turning this into more of a community and not just a rando hashtag. So,
Yeah.
dope.
Yep.
We'll see if we can get her on. If
2016.
Tax Twitter makes it far enough in the bracket, we'll see if we can get her on and maybe some of the other representatives from Tax Twitter. All right. So let's get into our AHAPAI class, or the AI agenda. You know, AI agenda does sound better. I like the idea of the AHAPAI class, but AI agenda just kind of rolls off the tongue.
Cool.
So
I'm down. Same content, different title.
yeah. So what do you got for us today?
Well, the big news over the last week, well, there were two pieces of big news. I think it's all under the same theme, is competition in this space. So Google has obviously been doing their own research in parallel to OpenAI on creating some AI. We see fragments of it in Google already, but they're now putting it into a product. They're productizing it, known as Google Bard. They did a release.
I don't know if I like that
this
name.
week. Yeah, it's kind of a weird name.
Is it in all caps?
also-
Is it an acronym? Or is it?
I don't even know if it's an acronym. That's a fair question. I mean, it makes me think, I'm pretty sure isn't the BARD the train system in San Francisco or something like that? But it's
A slice of bacon placed on meat or game before roasting. That would be one of the
Bard.
definitions.
A bard is also, a musician from the medieval times.
A poet.
A poet. Yeah, right.
Reciting epics and associated with particular oral tradition. That could be what it's referencing, maybe. Who knows?
That could be, yeah. It's had a bit of a rocky start. I would say it was pretty underwhelming from Google. Not to mention, a lot of people are beating them up because a little demo that they showed wasn't 100% accurate as it relates to something that it said about the James Webb Telescope. That being said, I think people are missing the point. These systems aren't necessarily about regurgitating facts. They're about so much more. So that's
Well,
been
Google's
released,
about
but-
regurgitating facts and
Correct.
things. This is something entirely different. So,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, simultaneous to this announcement, Microsoft, who has invested billions in OpenAI, has announced a new Bing release that includes GPT as part of the tool. So effectively, when you search for things in Bing, it's going to give you a narrative answer rather than just point you to additional websites. I have registered, but I am on the wait list for that new Bing. I think it's an early sign of how Microsoft is thinking about this billion-dollar investment that they've made in OpenAI, and just thinking about, okay, if it's going to show up in a search engine, and then it'll show up in probably Microsoft Outlook, and then it will show up in various Microsoft Office tools, it's just going to become another tool in
ubiquitously everywhere.
Yeah.
I also got a notification that I'm off the waiting list on Notion's AI tool. I didn't mess around with it yet, but it's built into Notion. I know Blake's been using it. He made a post. He said I used Notion's AI tool with this. I haven't turned it on, but yeah, I think a lot of these they're just going to come up everywhere, and this is going to be the new, I don't know, it's going to change the world. It's already changing the world. It has for a while now. I mean, a lot of the articles that you see online have been written by AI. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, or at least inspired, through an initial prompt that has then been edited. I mean, it's, and there's actually some tools that are starting to show up to help identify things that have been written were generated by an AI.
Interesting. It's not plagiarism though, because they're also like anti-plagiarism in there, but I guess I wonder how it could figure that out. I mean, I guess there's certain patterns that it's recognizing.
That's what they've talked about. It's looking for kind of a signature in the use of terms and the variety of tone or language. I think the difference is
too.
Lack of that's right, because us as humans, we're kind of like up and down and all over the place, where the AI is really going to be pretty specific, and there's also people using it where they'll write something and then they'll say rewrite it in a more playful tone or a more casual tone or a more professional tone. So that's where I could use it. A lot of stuff I write is very casual, but if I need something a little more professional, I can throw it in there and say, give me a professional of this writing.
So I got a story from Rick Rubin's book about AI, not necessarily the AI tool, but something that made a big impact or impression on him was there's a game called Go. It's about 3,000 years old and very well-known, popular game. And there's billions of different combinations of play, like how you can play. Everybody thought it'd be absolutely impossible for AI to be able to beat a human in this game. And when he read this article, he cried. This is Rick Rubin said this, because what they said was there was a match where AI was playing against a human, and they got to the 37th move of the game of the round of Go, and there was two options. Basically, there's two options for the computer to take with this move, and it was either to make it an offensive game or a defensive game for the computer, for the AI. And out of nowhere, and I don't understand this because I don't know the game, but the AI made a third choice that no human would ever make. It blew everybody away. The human that it was playing against had to get up and leave and compose itself just because of the move. It wasn't an offensive or a defensive move. I'm not quite sure. He didn't explain exactly what that was. The human came back, ended up losing that match, and the AI won 4 out of 5 of these games thereafter.
Yep.
But the point of the story was, it was the purity of the computer not learning from a human how to play the game. Because when you learn through a human, when you learn how to play, you get all of the preconceived like filters and all of the way that you're supposed to play. This is how you're supposed to do things. These are the rules. And the computer sees through that. The computer doesn't see rules. It sees options and how to play the game. And it started from scratch, basically. So looking at it like that, it takes away any of our pre-understanding of anything as humans, and it comes at things with new approach and new angles. And this is how a lot of innovative thinkers think too, where you approach a problem with a fresh set of eyes. You don't know how to play the game, or you don't know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. So it's like, if you're doing things very, very differently, sometimes that's to your advantage anyway, if you don't have that knowledge of things. So
I mean, that's children, right? They're kind of unencumbered by these rule sets that we've learned over time, and that's the AI is similar. It's like a child. It doesn't have these limitations and can see things that most of us adults have already like ruled out just by virtue of some like rule that.
Yeah, I think that's how we have to look at some of these tools too with kids growing up. So I got a quote from my mom. She's been using both ChatGPT and Jasper. I mentioned this on a couple of our other episodes. She compared the two for us. So like we did earlier, she compared ChatGPT is free to use. It's a great tool for gathering ideas and writing almost anything using simple prompts. The prompts are key. The more specific, the better the output. Jasper uses a different approach. It includes tools and templates, recipes, chat prompts. This might be better for someone who needs more guidance in formulating the content. So, like I've said, I have a subscription to Jasper. I haven't used ChatGPT because I haven't put my phone number in, so I don't even know the difference. My mom said, though, personally, I feel like I'm cheating by using these tools. it rehashes what's already written, but on the plus side, it produces content instantly and eliminates writer's block. So I don't know what she meant by it rehashes what's already written. Oh, maybe within the tool, but cheating means like you just, that's how I'm sure that's how people felt with calculators and with computers and everything else.
Yeah. It's and it is. I mean, I had something I needed to write recently, and I was just struggling to get started. And I literally put in a thing that said, "Hey, write me a book review that highlights these 3 things that I appreciate about the book." And it pumped out a great starting point. Now, what I ultimately turned in was not what it pumped out, but it at least inspired what came next.
I like that,
which was really cool.
Yeah. I think that's how we need to look at all this too. Is it's going to start something different. Like it's going to help you look at something from a different angle, maybe that you may not have thought of, something that wouldn't have even occurred to you. Here, now you have another starting point or another way of looking at it too. So different perspectives as well. Yeah. Powerful.
A lot of unlocks.
Lots of unlocks. So that's it for the AI agenda. We have a new section to our AH Times. This is our personal attention management class, or the attention detention. We're in attention detention right now. This is going to be an ongoing series. I just wanted to highlight, I have been really rethinking my whole life over the past couple of years. And I've talked about this a lot. I turned off all notifications. I don't use email. I'm turning into a Luddite. I use tech all the time, but I'm trying to limit my distractions and rewire my brain, because I'm broken as a person. I can't focus on anything. We all have ADHD now because of everything that's coming in at us. I don't know how to do work anymore because I can't sit down. I can't sit still without gravitating towards something else or something else grabbing my attention. So I've been studying this for a while. A few books that I've been reading on it. And overall, what I've learned is we are all distracted and nobody is working. And the core problem of this is we have shifted from what is called an access economy or an information economy. So to kind of expand on that, information, since the 1400s or since early days, that was what people bought and sold. That was what was limited. That's before books. You would have to travel to be somewhere in person to access information. Then books, then radio. All of this was, we were paying for access to the information. So news you had to get from in person, or the news, or the radio, or the TV. Education in person. And it was very limited, even entertainment as well. You were paying for access to the info. And if somebody wanted to get in front of you, they would buy an ad slot in that where everybody's attention was. That was what was bought and sold. Most of us still obey those principles. We still like that. This is how we operate. This is like our preconceived notions around information. But information now is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. We have an abundant amount of information-rich society. We have a wealth of information, and it's creating a drought of attention. The wealth of information is creating a limited amount of the information that it's consuming. The information is consuming us, is consuming our attention. I don't think anybody's accurately addressed that problem because it's just getting worse. So I think we're going to address it in our information attention detention class. We have a poverty of attention now. Information consumes all of us, and with that too much information, we don't even know what to do with it. So it used to be where buy and sell ad spots on TV. Now you buy something once, and that person can reach you forever directly probably have your phone number. They probably have your email address. They have a lot of information, and they're constantly targeting you directly because you already bought from them. It's a one-to-one type scenario. People are accessing us all the time. We used to have to, if we had a big idea and we wanted it published, we would have to contact an editor, to get it in the newspaper. Your uncle with the greatest idea, now he can just go on the socials and blast his idea everywhere. And if anybody who's following him, everybody has access to that. It's democratized information. I think this is a great thing. This goes into the AI type stuff too. Important for all of us to look at how do we start looking at this differently? How do we start thinking differently about our attention and information that we're taking in? In some of the things I've read, they use financial management as an analogy. And I think as accountants, we know this. Like, good financial management starts with how we spend our money, right? That's the problem. Like, how do we spend our money? That's good financial management. So how do we manage our attention? We have to start watching how we spend it, what we're giving our attention to, how many different things at once sometimes, how are our days split up, and where's our attention going? So in this personal attention management class, this attention detention, we're going to keep going deeper on these topics and start bringing up real life examples so we can start spending our attention wisely and teaching others. Byron, how do you make active attention choices?
Well, I mean, like you said, it is a challenge, and you have to be intentional about that discipline. Otherwise, you'll be consumed. I mean, a few things I've done over the years, for example, is I've either gotten rid of, and this is kind of tribute to atomic habits, for example, like Facebook. I realized I was using it way too much on my phone, just aimlessly, mindlessly. So I removed the app. But then I started using it in the browser on my phone. So then since then, I've just eliminated it altogether from my phone. I'm not going to log into Facebook from my phone. And since then, frankly, I'm probably on it like once a month. But it was like, I had to have intention. Mm-hmm. It's not just going to happen. If I had just said, I want to use Facebook less, which I had done many times, but it was still on my phone, like, that just muscle memory of opening that stupid app was like, you just kept doing it. And you're like, why am I scrolling this?
You're looking for the dopamine hit that you get occasionally.
100%. Occasionally. And usually it wasn't dopamine, it was cortisol. Like, it just gave me anxiety. Like, I would see shit that would just piss me off, and then it would consume me for the next hour. So, I had to have intention. I had to be like disciplined about, I don't want to inspire these feelings anymore, so I'm going to take action and do things about it. It requires a commitment to change, like all things, and intention. It won't just happen. Just by virtue of declaring. You can't just declare bankruptcy, as Michael Scott would tell us. You have to take action.
Well, that goes with how you spend the money, right? You can't just spend all of your attention and then claim bankruptcy. That's exactly right. Good tie-in. Right. Attention's the one resource that's most limited, most costly, most easily lost, and the most precious and the most valuable for us.
That 100%, 100%, and it just gets wasted.
Yeah. So as leaders of your firms, as leaders of families, as friends, we got to start looking at this differently. Change who we are. Change how we make our decisions around attention, and rethink how we're teaching our teams, or the example that we're setting to everybody. So it's going to be a interesting journey as we go through this, because I have a lot to learn about this. I'm not very good at it at all. I've been trying. I've limited my distractions, but I still, I'm also trying to become a better active listener on the show and give my full attention. And most of the time I'm recording this in front of a computer. If I have multiple windows open, sometimes things just catch my eye while somebody's talking. It's not even that, though. Sometimes it's just in my head. I think of something else. They say something, I think of something else. And then all of a sudden I've lost my attention and I'm not present. So Start by being present with the people around you, in real life. And that always starts with getting rid of the phone. It's that's usually the first phase.
Well, and that's it. You have to create boundaries or obstacles. Like you said, I started now when I'm on like a meeting, I maximize the meeting to cover up things. I minimize everything else to avoid the random distraction. I was on a meeting recently with Laura Lynn, and I noticed her phone was way behind her, sitting on the arm of a couch, just so it's out of reach.
Out of sight.
Yeah. You have to do something about it. You can't just, you can't just say, I want this. That's great. Do something, create a boundary, create an obstacle.
Attention, intention. That was an episode recently with Damian Martin where we talked about this.
Yes.
We'll go really deep into
one.
this. So if you're into these topics, check that one out if you haven't heard it. So that's another new class here on our AI Times. Let's go into our AH accounting article of the week. What do you got for us?
This was a great article that was published on CPA Practice Advisor. It was really interesting. So the title is Accountants Are Among the Most Sought After Workers in 2023. It is looking at the State of U.S. Hiring Survey from Robert Half. And what it found is accountants are the number one sought after role across the board by companies. So putting it side by side with human resources, legal, marketing, technology, finance and accounting is extremely high up on that list. And actually, one correction, technology was 64%, finance and accounting 62%. So a very close second to technology, but I would actually argue that there's overlap within that technology space. It kind of goes through a lot of information in here, but it just reinforces that we are in a profession that is highly desired, highly sought after, and highly valued. And I think us as a profession need to kind of check ourselves. At times we don't necessarily value ourselves as much as outsiders value us. There's just an incredible amount of opportunity despite layoffs happening, potentially, economic uncertainty. The one thing that is certain is finance and accounting space is definitely a desirable place to be.
So we picked the right profession, or we're just the last ones standing. The ones that are still in it, that's why we're more valuable and more sought after, because there's very limited resources, right? We don't have as many. We've had a big exodus in our profession. So,
yeah, there's a lot of seats, I think, that are finally opening up because people are retiring and making changes and things like that, which is creating a huge demand because it's valuable. If it wasn't valuable, they wouldn't be trying to fill those seats.
Yeah. Well, we always talk about this. How do we attract more into the profession? And I think this is one way of doing it, because obviously the most sought after jobs are going to be the higher paid jobs. So bring more jobs into accounting and more job fairs. People are going to be attracted to this. We got to bring more people into our profession. So reach them young, like high school, like accounting high.
Oh yeah, I 100%. That's when I got inspired, high school.
So it's good to hear. It's a positive outlook on us as accountants. People want us. We're in high demand. And let's go into our coming soons. So accounting high coming soons. I got some episodes that are fully edited. Just waiting on finalize the episode, get it ready, get it on the calendar. We got guiding trans. Actually, the next one up is going to be a varsity tips. Another varsity tips. We're going to have them back to back with Nicole McKenzie. Varsity tips. GPT your SOPs is the tentative title. So you could extract what you will from that. We've got Ron Baker, number 1, Guiding Transformations from the Principal's Office. That's an hour and a half. We've split this out into 2 episodes. In between that, we're going to release Firm Hard Numbers, Volume 3, Going Deep with the Sons of CPAs. So that's me and Ackerman going over our numbers of 2022, the whole year. And we go deep on some other topics. It's a good, really good episode, probably the best one I've recorded with Ackerman yet. So stay tuned for that.
Sweet.
And then Ideas Having Sex in the Principal's Office. That's the next title of the next one. Now, sex is spelled S3X. Again, look into that as you will. Another hour and a half episode with Ron Baker. I think that one's a little shorter than an hour and a half, but another good one. Another lots of gold nuggets in there. It's appropriate to split them up into 2, and they're fun in different ways. Let's just say it's a good series. We still got our AH guide, the Accounting High guide we're working on. My mom finished the first blog post. I got to review it and figure out how we're going to start releasing those. There's a lot of content for guides, for blogs, because a lot of these long episodes, there's some really good information in there that is not as accessible because it's part of a longer conversation. So we're extracting that good stuff, the golden, the stuff that people like the most, the stuff that's most valuable to accounting professional. And we're going to start releasing those as guides, blog posts. The Gazette is pushed back a little bit more on deck. I'm getting in my own way with all these things of releasing them. I want to do something with the Gazette written, and we still haven't figured out what that is yet. And then the Accounting High TV. Hopefully soon we start releasing these on YouTube.
Awesome. That sounds great.
All right. Well, Byron, you got anything else to...
No, I think that was an awesome summary. A lot of good stuff going on here, and just keep them nominations coming.
Another week of 2023 down. This is our Accounting High Times signing off. Peace out.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day show.